It was early. I hadn't been out of the house in quite some time, and I felt dead inside. I took a cab to the local bar and had a couple drinks too many. I was thinking about the last couple of days and contemplating what I could have done to prevent the tragedy. I had been following her for quite some time, ever since the interview. I wasn't all that convinced she was innocent.
That's your husband?
No.
That's
No.
you.
No, it's not me. It's
Yeah,
not me.
it was
I
you.
didn't do it.
This looks just like you.
It doesn't look anything like
It
me.
looks just like
It doesn't
you.
look anything like me.
Don't you give me attitude? Don't you give me
I'm
attitude?
telling you, this is how it works.
It's not
I had been following her for quite some time. She didn't know it. She was a suspect in an alleged killing of her now former husband, Jackson Drew. She was wearing shades and a dark cloak dress. Very suspicious, if you ask me. It was about 8 o'clock, and she had been looking around, as if she was waiting for someone to show up. She finally finished her 5th cup of coffee, dropped the tip, and left discreetly. After catching up on the local news, I left my tip for the bartender and went back to business. I followed her home. Then she went to bed. The next day she went for a jog. After her jog, she went home, showered, got into her car, and took a drive somewhere into the city. I had apparently hit a dead end in the case. Miss Drew still believed she was innocent. We didn't have a body. And there was not enough evidence to convict her, so I turned to looking over and over at the files. I saw something I hadn't noticed before. Besides the apparent lack of blood at the scene, Miss Jackson had no motive. Mr. Jackson had a serious gambling problem. He had many run-ins with the Russian mob. Suddenly, the pieces fell together. Mr. Jackson had not been murdered. He had been kidnapped. Again, I decided to question Miss Jackson. I still didn't believe she was innocent.
Don't you give me that attitude. Don't you do it. I don't give a
Again, I couldn't seem to get anything out of her. I honestly had nothing better to do, so I followed her again, hoping she would lead me to something. I was right. I followed her into the supermarket, laying low as not to be seen. Eventually she wound up at the bank, and came out with what looked to be a small load of cash. She shoved it into her black bag, and I knew she was about to pay off the kidnappers for her husband's safe return. She proceeded to drive to the old Swanson lot, an abandoned derby track across from the school. I followed her there as inconspicuously as I could. Everything played out from there. So you can see, even a perfect detective can lose everything. I mean, in the end, I thought I was doing the right thing, and it turned out I was wrong. Now, I won't be taking cases for quite some time.
Love of mine, someday you will die, but I'll be close behind. They'll follow you into the dark, no blinding light or tunnels to gates of white, just our hands clasped so tight.